So after a particularly rough stream, sometimes I like to search Twitter for streaming as a blow up. And usually it eases the pain a little bit and helps with the ego if you see other streamers that are your peers or even more experienced with you also dealing with streaming problems. Even the most prepared stream usually has to deal with something. So with that being said, for this video, we're going to talk about some problems that happen during streaming that you usually don't have any control over and what you can do to solve them.
You son of a bitch.
So the first thing that can happen is the power going out, and this could happen at all levels of events. So a lot of times new TOs won't take into account the power requirements for 10 or 20 setups. So when they plug in that 10th setup, it flips a breaker and all the power goes out. Or even at big tournaments, when they take that into account, there can be some freak occurrences of nature like lightning takes the power out, or rain takes the power out, or there's just rolling blackouts. So the only thing you can really do to deal with this situation is to make sure that you're protecting your equipment from these electrical disturbances. So make sure you get surge protectors, and not power strips, but surge protectors. And make sure you replace them every so often because they do degrade in how much they can protect your equipment. And another thing to buy if you have the space for it is a backup power supply. Usually you see these being used on servers, but basically if the power gets knocked out, they have a battery to keep things running for the next few minutes. So this is really good if you have your streaming PC plugged into it. That way if a match stops, then you can at least stop the recording and shut down your PC safely, because it's usually the most expensive piece of equipment that you have. So one thing that's really common that you have to deal with at events is a lot of downtime, and it's really frustrating to deal with. If you go to an event and you hear things like on-site registration or late registration, you know that's going to delay the brackets getting made, which means it's going to take time for the tournament to start, and it's going to mean that you're not going to have any matches to show. Or you get there to set up and the stage isn't built, there's no projector screen, there's no electricity, there's no internet, and you have to wait for that to be set up in order for you to set up. So if you're waiting for your stage to get set up, there's nothing you can really do. All you can do is talk to the contractor in charge of building it and ask them for an ETA when you can come set up. And if you're lucky enough to have gotten per diem for the event, go and get a nice lunch, maybe take a nap, and then come back and see if it's ready to go. So if you're already live and it looks like there's going to be a long delay between the matches, you're going to want to communicate this with the commentators. If you have good commentators, they're really good at turning downtime into their own personal podcasts. They can look at bracket results and updates and let people know what's going on with the tournament. You just want to kind of keep them updated to let them know to keep stalling or keep delaying. And while they're talking, you want to go and try and find a bracket runner and TO and really emphasize to them that you need matches and try to see what's going on. And hey, worst case scenario, there's always time to run ads during this period. So if you see a lot of Fs in chat or call spookies, that means you're probably dropping frames, which means you need to lower your bitrate. So you can lower your bitrate while you're live, but the problem is that you need to remember to up your bitrate again, or else your stream quality is going to drop. And if you notice that the connection is being kind of spotty all day, I would recommend enabling adaptive bitrate. This will automatically adjust the bitrate based on bandwidth. So if it lowers, it'll go low. If it gets higher again, it'll go back up. And this will save you some time and hassle with that. However, if you see that the frames keep on dropping constantly, no matter how low you set the bitrate, or you can't even encode, that means it's time to get in contact with the IT department. Now, usually the venue will have someone that's in charge of this or on call throughout the whole weekend. It's good to ask the venue or the tournament organizer to get you this contact info. That way you can get in touch with them right away. So if you're going around doing a bunch of smaller tournaments or traveling a lot, you might run into venues where they don't want you actually messing with their internet connection, or they don't have the contact info for their IP. So in this case, I recommend buying unlimited 4G hotspots. You can find these available pretty easily now. And if you're going to be doing a broadcast at multiple tournaments at the same venue, you're probably going to want to talk with either the venue owner or perhaps the TO and coming to some kind of arrangement where a portion of the venue fees for the tournament go towards paying for your data costs. So this next problem is a classic for a lot of local tournaments, and that's having either no commentators or too many of the wrong type of commentators. Sometimes they're called mic vultures. So I know running a stream for a tournament is pretty crazy. You're probably putting out multiple fires, but at the end of the day, you're trying to make an entertaining show for your viewers so they come back week after week and hopefully support you in some way. So if you can't find any commentators or ones that you like, you're gonna have to jump on that mic yourself, spooky style, and entertain the crowd. If you don't know that much about the games, ask them how they're doing, ask them something, just try your best to avoid dead air. No matter how big or small you are, you're always going to want to be selective on who you let on the mic. I mean, worst case scenario, if you let some random person on, they'll be boring or annoying to the viewers. But the worst case scenario is that they're going to say something wild and get your stream banned. So hopefully some of these tips help you with these streaming problems. And remember, try not to be too hard on yourself or be too stressed out if things fall apart. It happens to the best of us at all kinds of events, big and small. So for my fellow streamers, what are some of the crazy things that you've had to deal with on your stream? How do you approach and tackle live streaming problems? What are your techniques? How do you keep your cool? And what is the worst commentary you've ever heard on a stream, mine included? Thanks again everyone for watching this video. Give it a like if it helped you out with something, and make sure to subscribe for more streaming support videos. See you next week.